when evil is forced into the light can we defeat it. Only when they can no longer operate in the shadows can people see the truth for themselves. Only when people see the truth for themselves will people understand the true nature of their deception. Difficult truths. Q. One thing's a fact. Since Trump took office, the pedophile ring and satanic rings are no longer operating in the shadows. No wonder there is so much resistance against him. Trump is like a virus to the Bill Gates' plan. And he knows all about viruses. Nothing about the deep state should shock us anymore. New York Times journalist James Stewart was interviewed by MSDNC about the connection between Billy Gates and Jeffrey Epstein. Check this out. The deep state panic. It's all coming out. Hashtag Epstein.
A connection between their foundation and JP Morgan to set up a charitable fund that would financially benefit Epstein. You know what I want to know? Why? Joining me now, one of the New York Times reporters from this story, James B. Stewart, who is also the author of a new book I highly recommend, Deep State, Trump, the FBI, and the Rule of Law. Let's start with this. Gates says, no relationship, nada, nothing. You report these two men met at least 6 times. What does Gates say about that?
Well, I believe that there were more, and he and his spokespeople would not say how many in total they actually met. But this included visits to the mansion, seeing each other in Seattle, flying on Epstein's plane, when we all know Bill Gates has his own $40 million plane. And then, as an investigative reporter, why would Gates say, oh, I had no relationship with him, when of course he knows what the facts are? So that always sets off red flags for me.
He also has one of the largest, most established foundations on his own.
Yes.
Why would they ever set up a charitable trust benefiting Jeffrey Epstein?
Well,
what's the explanation?
Not only does he have the world's largest charitable foundation, but one of their primary missions is to help young women in underprivileged countries. Jeffrey Epstein was preying on young women from Eastern Europe, from South Africa, luring them into his web. And it's the antithesis of what the Gates Foundation stands for. And by the way, there were Gates Foundation employees who were horrified when they realized what Jeffrey Epstein had done and was saying, we don't want to have anything to do with this, and yet the project went on.
And what is the Gates explanation for this?
That it was all about philanthropy, that Bill Gates just wanted to find new sources of money.
But when you went and met with Jeffrey Epstein a year and a half ago, I read your piece, you knew straight out of the gate something didn't add up. It smelled foul. Bill Gates didn't notice that? One of the smartest guys in the world. I
mean, he's a registered sex offender, and after I rang the doorbell, it opens, and there is a beautiful young woman standing there who I didn't think was 16, but she could have been, 19 or something, and I thought, whoa, a sex offender has a beautiful young woman opening the door. So I didn't even have to go through the door before I realized there's something really weird going on here.
Something really weird, no doubt. Billy Gates repeatedly met with Epstein after Epstein was convicted of sex crimes, and incredibly, the Gates Foundation decided to move forward, set up a charitable trust benefiting Epstein. The net is rapidly closing in and around. The walls are closing in on the deep state Satanist and their cult and their endless connections to drug trafficking, sex trafficking, human trafficking in general, enslaving a portion of the world. Their connections are being exposed on a daily basis, on the regs. That's right, on the regular. And here's what really blows my mind about this whole story, is that the journalist James Stewart, well, he works for the New York Times, one of the most corrupt newspapers of all time. Also, Stewart has written a book titled Deep State, Trump and the Rule of Law. And he was interviewed by no other than MSDNC, one of the most corrupt TV channels around. Q has always said, in the very end, that some of these would try to salvage and save themselves, that they would basically come around, not all, but some, and that these channels here is an excellent sign that the New York Times and MSNBC are finally, or at least for this time, telling the truth about the deep state. This is logical thinking. He tweets, features an article from The Hill, Justice Department to resume executions next week for the first time in 15 years.
I tried so hard and got so far, but in the end, it doesn't even matter. I had to fall to lose it all, but in the end, it doesn't even matter. I tried so hard and got so far.
Is Dr. Anthony Doomsday Fauci married to Maxwell's sister? Somebody let me know. I'm hearing rumors.
But in the end, it doesn't even matter.
All of this news will set off a huge wave of panic in the satanic sex trafficking deep state rings. The subject of capital punishment is very difficult for light warriors. We are here to protect and liberate humanity. When it comes to justice being administered in the coming months, we must trust the divinely orchestrated alliance's plan. Dr. Fauci has shown his deep state colors. He has definitely made clear who he rolls with, and he will be dealt with accordingly. Again, I am Michael. This is the Patriot Hour. God bless, God speed to each and every one of you. And where we go one, we go all. Dark to light, love and light.
It doesn't even matter. I had to fall to lose it all, but in the end, it doesn't even matter.